The tradition continues.
Calvary Box to the world 24/7.
Tradition continues.
Calvary. Welcome to the details. U.S. withdraws its peacekeepers from South Sudan. The United States has recently withdrawn a group of peacekeepers from the United Nations mission in South Sudan. This has been done without any public statement or explanation from UNMISS or the U.S. contingent. In response on Monday, a UN spokesperson in New York confirmed Tuesday that the withdrawal was temporary. The U.S. personnel served as staff officers within UNMISS military component, supporting mission planning, operations and logistics, the spokesperson added. The spokesperson noted that, as highlighted by Nicholas Haysom, the UN Secretary General's special representative and head of UNMISS, their contributions are essential to maintaining the mission's mandate during the current crisis. Edward H. Carpenter, a former UN peacekeeper and director of World Without War, expressed concern over the withdrawal. He compared the move to previous U.S. withdrawals from missions in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Palestine, suggesting it was likely justified under safety concern. He urged U.S. Africa Command and the U.S. Military Observer Group to expedite the officers' return to their post. The reason for the withdrawal of the U.S. peacekeepers from South Sudan remains unclear. A leaked White House memo reportedly identified the UN and some of its departments as potential targets for major funding cuts through the U.S. State Department. If enacted, the cuts could significantly affect the UN and its 193 member states. South Sudan to send delegation to the U.S. for talks. The government of South Sudan said Tuesday that it will send a delegation to the United States for bilateral talk. Addressing reporters in Juba, Apuk Ayuel Mayen, spokesperson in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, said Foreign Minister Mande Semaya Kumba is engaging with the United States authorities to engage them in bilateral talks. Ayuel lauded the U.S. ambassador to South Sudan, Michael J. Adler, for issuing entry visas to a South Sudanese delegation led by Finance Minister Dr. Mariel Ater Dongrin, who are scheduled to travel to the U.S. to participate in the 2025 annual spring meetings organized by the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund in Washington, D.C., and other engagements beneficial to both countries. She assured that the Foreign Ministry remains committed to deepening engagement with the international community and strengthening South Sudan diplomatic relations globally. Relatedly, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said it is closely monitoring the safety and well-being of citizens in Sudan and remains in close contact with the Sudanese authorities to ensure their protection. Ayuel urged all citizens in Sudan to remain calm and maintain close communication with the embassy in Port Sudan by conducting the embassy officials. House-to-house search for guns underway in Malakal. Security forces in Malakal, the capital of Upper Nile State, launched a house-to-house search for illegal weapons Tuesday morning, with military and police units taking part in the operation. Major General Joseph Mayena Kon, the state's police commissioner, said that the campaign aims to confiscate unauthorized firearms held by civilians. He emphasized that only those with legal authorization may possess firearms. Quote, "If we find that you obtain a firearm legally, that is a different matter, but civilians cannot own guns without following proper procedures," Mayen said. The operation is expected to conclude Tuesday evening, but may extend into Wednesday if necessary, he added. When asked about the timing, Mayen said the move follows recent government efforts to restore order after recapturing Ulang and Nasir counties from the White Army militia. Mayen warned that illegal weapons in homes pose a significant security threat. He did not disclose how many firearms had been seized so far, saying a full inventory would be released after the operation. The police commissioner acknowledged the broader challenge of unregulated community-held weapons, stating that the government is working to tighten control. One resident, who gave only his first name Jenga, praised the operation as a step toward stability. Another resident, Rebecca Agustino, welcomed the disarmament effort, citing recent tensions in Malakal. You are listening to Favor News. The Lake State Ministry of Health confirmed that the cholera outbreak in the 3 counties of Yirol East, Yirol West, and Aweril has killed 27 people, while 646 patients have fully recovered from the disease. The Director General in the State Health Ministry, Maker Malok, said 7 of the new cases were recorded after a vaccination campaign which targeted 322,696. He said most of the communities that took the vaccine are now protected. For his part, Rumbek State Hospital Medical Director Teran Madid said the cholera outbreak has not reached 5 counties of Lake State. In regional news, Ghana President suspends Chief Justice in unprecedented move. Ghanaian President John Mahama has suspended the country's Supreme Court Chief Justice, a move that marks a first in the country's history. An investigation has been launched and 3 undisclosed petitions have been filed making allegations against Gertrude Tokono, calling for her permanent removal. Chief Justices in Ghana enjoy security of tenure, meaning they can only be removed from office on a few grounds, which include incompetence and misbehavior. The content of the petitions has not been made public and is yet to comment, while Ghana's former Attorney General has claimed her suspension is an attempt to undermine the judiciary. Mr. Tokono is Ghana's 3rd female Chief Justice and was nominated in 2023 by former President Nana Akufo-Addo. It is her responsibility to oversee the administration of justice in Ghana. According to news agency Reuters, Mr. Tokono survived a removal request earlier this year when former President Akufo-Addo said a petition to have her dismissed had several deficiencies. Copies of the 3 recently filed petitions against Mr. Tokono were not initially made available to her, but some lawyers argued that withholding the document was a violation of Ms. Tokono's rights to fair hearing. Copies of the petition were subsequently made available to the Chief Justice, allowing her to respond to the allegations privately and in writing. Mr. Tokono will be invited by the 5-member committee to respond again to the petition before a final decision is reached as to whether she should be removed from office or not. In world news, world leaders including Trump and Zelensky to attend Pope's funeral. Pope Francis' funeral will take place on Saturday in St. Peter's Square, the Vatican has confirmed, with hundreds of thousands expected to attend. The head of the Catholic Church died of a stroke on Monday, aged 88, less than 24 hours after leading an Easter address. He had been in poor health after recently battling double pneumonia. A host of world leaders and royals, including Sir Keir Starmer, Donald Trump, the Prince of Wales, and President Luis Inácio Lula da Silva of Brazil, home to the biggest Catholic population in the world, have confirmed their attendance. Thousands of mourners have already flocked to Vatican City, carrying flowers, crosses, and candles, and reciting prayers. On Tuesday, the Vatican released further details of the Pope's final 24 hours. Francis, who had recently spent 5 weeks in hospital, was slightly apprehensive about appearing on the balcony on Sunday. Strapetti reassured him, and moments later, the pontiff appeared on the balcony, blessing the crowd gathered in St. Peter's Square below. The following morning, Francis began to feel unwell. An hour later, he waved at the Strapetti before slipping into a coma. On Wednesday morning, Pope Francis' body will be taken in a procession led by cardinals from the chapel of Santa Marta to St. Peter's Basilica, where he will remain in an open coffin until Friday to allow mourners to pay their respects. Just before the procession, a moment of prayer will be led by the Camerlengo, Cardinal Kevin Farrell, who is running the Vatican in the wake of the Pope's death. The Vatican has released photos of the Pope's body lying in the chapel at the Casa Santa Marta, his residence during his 12-year papacy. To end the news, the headlines once again. U.S. withdraws its peacekeepers from South Sudan. South Sudan to send delegation to the U.S. for talks, and world leaders including Trump and Zelensky to attend Pope's funeral. Our Bible verse is taken from 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. For the Spirit God gave us does not make us timid, but gives us power, love, and self-discipline. Stay tuned. My name is Andama Godfrey Israelite.
That was the news
on Favor FM 96.3, the heartbeat of God.